Good afternoon, third year BA program English students. Today we will be discussing Marina by T.S. Eliot. It is from your DSE 1B British Literature. Now, Marina is a poem written by T.S. Eliot. It was first published in and around 1927 to 1930 and published in his Ariel Poems. It is one of the poems in Ariel Poems. Now, if we look at the summary of the poem, Pericles was a play written by William Shakespeare. And in the play, Pericles and his family, he was the king he was known as the Prince of Tyrion. And when they were returning from a voyage, a storm wreaked havoc, and unfortunately Pericles lost his wife and daughter. He came back to his kingdom all alone. But after 16 years, it is that moment when his lost daughter is being returned to him. That is the background of the poem. So when the poem begins, Pericles is standing at the shore, whereas his daughter, whom he lost as a baby, is being returned to him as a young girl after many years. So she is approaching by the ship and he is standing on the shore. That is the background of the poem. Now, when the poem opens, it opens with an epigraph. An epigraph is a quotation at the beginning of the poem, which is not a part of the poem, not the part of the text. However, it bears a lot of significance to the text. How? You'll understand this. Now, the epigraph is taken from a work by Seneca the younger Seneca, and which was written in ancient Greece in 5 BC. And the name of the work is Hercules Furens. Now, let's look at Hercules Furens, the book or the work. Now, in this work of Seneca, Hercules, in a frenzy, in the fit of madness, kills his wife and also his children. When he wakes up from the madness, he is unaware of the fact that in his frenzy he has already killed with his bare hands his wife and children. So he asks, and the quote is, "What place is this? What land, what quarter of the globe?" Now here it is written in Latin. However, this is the English interpretation. So just like Hercules, Pericles also is not sure whether he is dreaming or is it a reality, whether this daughter is actually his daughter or is it a conspiracy of the enemy. So that is his, and he is not aware whether the daughter is going to be as he expected her to be or whether she is going to be different. So if you look at the first paragraph, there is the description of the background. And what is the background like as it is described? There is the fog, there is pine trees, there is a fog, a dense fog where you cannot see the other person. There is the pine trees and there is also the wood thrush singing. There is also a distinct sound of water as it laps with the ship. So these are the sounds. And then in the second paragraph, Pericles starts to talk about the sins that people indulge themselves in. Now, this sin part is important. Remember, please don't forget that Pericles is waiting for his daughter at the shore while her ship is approaching, and he is actually reminiscing or thinking certain things. And one of them is this spiritual context, this spiritual idea that comes into his mind. So then he thinks about how in life people indulge in different sins. They are angry, they have a lot of pride, and that pride is being compared to a hummingbird. There is a lot of anger, jealousy, and that jealousy is being compared to a dog that shows its teeth in anger. There is also the mention of being lazy, sloth, and also lust for power. So these are all sins committed against the ways of God. And according to Christianity, if one commits these sins, then their spiritual journey will be affected. The more you commit sins, you will be farther away from God, from the Almighty. That is why he compares all this to death. Death, the end of life. So in the second paragraph, you can see that there is a mention of death for at least 4 times. Every time he mentions a sin, he talks about death. So it is being compared to something as hopeless as death. Then he says a very important thing. He says, all this is insignificant, meaning this lust for power, this greed, this jealousy is insignificant. Why is it insignificant or meaningless now? Because his daughter is coming back to him. He might have committed a lot of sin. He might not have been a good person, not a good king while he was young. But since now he is an old man waiting for his daughter, waiting to be reunited with his daughter and perhaps die after many years, he says that pride, glory, power, all this is insignificant. It has no meaning as he is about to be reunified with his daughter. So Marina is a symbol of spiritual regeneration for Pericles. Pericles believes that the daughter is a symbol of regeneration, a miraculous rebirth out of death. He might have been a sinful person, but with his reunification with the daughter, his spiritual side will be regenerated. The last paragraph, of course, talks about his life being compared to a boat that has been damaged. So this damaged boat is actually a comparison to his damaged soul. Now, how does a soul get damaged? As I already told you, when a person indulges or commits the sins that are against religion, for instance, when a person is jealous of the other person, when a person is greedy, when a person takes lot of pride on one's materialistic belongings, that person's spirit, that person's soul is corroded. that person's soul is damaged. So in the poem, that soul is actually the boat. So he says, like, just like a boat, just like a damaged boat needs to be repaired, his soul also needs repairing, regenerating, and this repairing will be done by his daughter Marina. So Marina here is a symbol of spiritual regeneration for Pericles. The daughter and father's reunion is actually a spiritual journey, a spiritual path for Pericles to redeem himself. It is a form of redemption.